Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, I have been keeping an eye on focus groups to see if anybody's digging into the thought process behind voters who maybe voted for Trump and took a chance on him, and if they're happy with what they're seeing so far. So, I am happy to report that the group Engages, who you guys know I follow, they did a focus group specifically for Georgia voters. And these are swing voters. These are people who voted for Biden in 2020 and then they went back to Trump in 2024. So basically, here's the findings. There were two groups, six in each group, so a total of 12 people. And yes, again, for people who are new here, I know these are not indicative of the population at large. This is a small number of people, but I think that the focus groups are very instructive because you get to ask follow-up questions and it's not just a yes or no answer. So it really was something that I pointed to before the election to say Trump has a good chance of winning because of what I was hearing in the focus group. So yes, it is very instructive. It can be a legitimate way of telling, which way the population is heading. So here's what they found. 8 out of these 12 people had heard about the pardons for the January 6 people, for the defendants and the convicts. Out of the 12, only one approved of the pardons, and he said he only really approved of the ones for misdemeanor convictions only. So you have 12 out of 12 people who did not want Biden. They went back to Trump, and they are saying, no, this was a bad move, not what I wanted. 11 out of the 12 said that they disapproved across the board. They believe that it set a bad precedent, which it does, absolutely. Some of these people raised, BLM protests and people who got in trouble there. And, there were some people in this group who honestly just are clueless. They think that nobody faced any penalties for BLM protests that got out of hand. Absolutely, totally, and completely false. And I have the proof and evidence of that fact. Some people raised the issue of Biden's pardons, of his family and so forth. Not the same thing. I'm sorry, just not the same thing. I mean, to pardon your family because you're afraid that the next administration might go after them. And, even if there are no crimes, it means hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. It means, hardship and heartache and stress and all that other stuff that goes along with it. So no, not the same thing as pardoning people who have been proven, many of them, to have committed crimes, and some very egregious, violent crimes, some who have very lengthy rap sheets as well, and who have committed crimes even after the Capitol attack. So no, sorry, not going to fly with me. It's not the same thing. Also, 9 out of the 12 knew about Trump's executive orders. Not sure what the other 3 have been doing with their last week, but anyway, I'm going to give you a breakdown because they put up these slides and they asked them about different groups of policies that Trump has now enacted with these executive orders. And then they asked them for feedback. So in the first group, as you can see on your screen, and I'm going to, kind of limit the phrasing, but they asked about Trump's hiring freeze for federal workers. They asked about Schedule F, which is that ability that Trump has to fire anyone and everyone that he wants. If they don't agree with him, if they're not a loyalist, he can get rid of career government servants. Also, halting new federal rules without the Trump administration first reviewing them. Reviewing Biden administration investigations for quote unquote weaponization. This one's very concerning, granting top security clearance without any kind of vetting process. That is something that Trump signed as one of his executive orders. Ending remote work for government employees, was also on this list. So 3 out of the 12 said, yes, this is what I voted for. I like these policies. And they had to basically vote as a group, as the policies as a group, I should say. So they if they had any reservations about any of those issues, then they said no. This is not what I voted for. So they had to approve of every single issue, every single item in that list I just laid out for you. So again, out of the 12, only 3 said, yes, I agree with every single one of these things. 9 out of the 12 said, no, this is not what I voted for. And again, it could be just, 1 or 2 things. Oddly and surprisingly, only 2 of these 12 people mention the problem with security clearances without any kind of vetting. I mean, this is absolutely insane. You are putting people in positions of power in the government, and they could be subject to blackmail. They could be subject to, all kinds of bribes. I mean, they could have all kinds of issues in their background that make them an inappropriate person, someone who should never be allowed to have top security clearance, to view our security documents, our secured documents, I should say, the most highly classified documents in our government. And these are people who are going to get access to this stuff without any kind of vetting. That is insane in the membrane. That is beyond absurd. So I don't know why this is not more of an issue, why nobody is bringing this up. But yes, that is something that Donald Trump did in his first week in office. The next group of policies or executive orders that they were asked about was the basically like climate issues, things like that. So the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. They were asked about suspending some environmental rules in order to expedite mining projects. They were also asked about an attempt to reverse Biden's offshore drilling ban in federal waters, the repeal of Biden-era tailpipe pollution rules, the rollback of energy efficiency regulations for various appliances, and then opening the Alaska wilderness up to more oil and gas drilling. Also halting the federal lease for offshore wind farms, which you would think would not be an issue, and why would Trump even bring this up? But there's this whole ridiculous conspiracy theory on the right that these wind farms cause the death of whales. It has been absolutely proven that is false. That is it's just a ridiculous notion. But Trump buys into all of these conspiracy theories. No surprise there. Also on this list was eliminating environmental justice programs, which this is a huge one for the minority communities, because very often you will have corporations that build plants, or, big ag puts these pig farms or, cows, all different types of, food production, and I use food loosely because these are living beings, but all these food production facilities, these factory farms right next to very poor communities, which is very often because of the, long-standing, we've gotten rid of some of them, but because of the racial injustice in our country, because Black people were held down for so long and prevented from buying homes and prevented from building generational wealth, they are very often in the lower income categories in our country. So these companies and these corporations and factory farms will build facilities right next to these low-income communities because they know they can't fight back. So when their waterways are polluted, their air is polluted, and some of them can't even walk outside because the smell, the stench of urine, the ammonia in the air is so just disgusting and literally will like choke you from breathing it in, they can't do anything about it. They are too poor to stand up for themselves. This is why you don't see these types of things in areas where there's wealthy people, because they will fight back. So that is what part of this is that Donald Trump doesn't want to protect these people anymore. On this list was also the review of regulations on the development of coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear power, hydropower, and biofuels. 6 out of the 12, half of them said, yeah, I'm totally cool with this. I am totally fine with this. And there were Black people on these 2 panels. There were, from my recollection, 3 or 4 Black people in these panels. So they clearly don't get it. And then, of course, the other 6 out of 12 said, no, I did not vote for this. This is not why I wanted Trump. Several said that they were concerned about the environment, which I, am just blown away. It's like, why would you vote for Trump then? He made absolutely no bones about what he was going to do with so much of this stuff. So for you to vote for this man and then now say, oh, but I'm so concerned about the environment. What the seriously? What in the hell are you people thinking? The next group of EOs, the executive orders that they were asked about, had to do with terminating DEI employees and all DEI programs, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, recognizing 2 sexes only, male and female, and removing protections for transgender people in federal prison. No surprise here. 7 out of the 12 said, yes, I agree with all of these things. 5 out of the 12 said, no, I disagree. 1 said she's not upset about this, but this isn't why she voted for Trump. These weren't her main priorities. So just sickening, and especially, again, you have Black people in this panel. You had an Indian woman on one of these panels. I mean, she was not for this stuff, but the Black people were, which is just mind-blowing. They clearly don't get it. They clearly don't understand what it's all about. Anyway, the next group of executive orders they asked about was an investigation into trade deficits and the flow of migrants and drugs from Canada, Mexico, and China. Keep that in mind as I get to the end of this. Also assessing China's compliance with the 2020 trade deal that Trump put in place, assessing creation of an external revenue service to collect on all of these trade agreements that he wants to impose. Also, a review of whether additional tariffs are warranted. So, unbelievably, every single person was happy about these things. They are so ignorant. They have no clue what tariffs are all about. It is just absolutely unbelievable. And one woman on one of these panels actually thought that when they said that, oh, we want to study the flow of drugs coming in from Canada and Mexico, she thought it meant that they were going to start importing prescription drugs from Canada to lower prices. That's why she said she supported this stuff. So, like I said, I mean, the ignorance is just astounding. Next, they were asked, what, if anything, Trump should continue from the Biden administration? They said, can you think of something that Biden did that was positive and that should Trump continue with these things? Unbelievably, one entire group of 6 people said they couldn't think of anything positive that Biden did. So, I mean, that's partly on them for not paying attention, obviously being ignorant, but also it's on the Biden administration for not doing something to get in front of people and let them know how they made their lives better. But 3 of the people in the other panel said that they were happy about the student loan forgiveness. 4 people in that same panel said that they were happy about the infrastructure improvements. So I really would love to ask these people a follow-up question of, what do you think of the fact that now Donald Trump has basically halted student loan forgiveness? Yeah. And then next, they asked them if they can think of any Democrats who they would like to see run in 2028 for the Democratic presidential ticket. Lord help me. Some people couldn't come up with a name, but other people mentioned Pete Buttigieg. No. Another person mentioned John Ossoff. Not opposed, but does he have public, recognition and national appeal? No, I don't think so. And then another person, a woman, actually said that she would like to see a ticket of Elizabeth Warren and Michelle Obama together. Don't know if that would fly, since we have so much sexism. I don't think a ticket with 2 women on it is going to fare any better than one with 1 woman and a man. But also somebody mentioned Mike Bloomberg, which didn't we already try that and it failed miserably? Pay attention, people. And then another person who was very clearly a Fox News viewer and very clearly a hardcore Republican. I mean, the guy was just so out there, believed this same person who I'm going to mention, he believed that the January 6th Select Committee got rid of and destroyed all evidence of their investigation. That's how in the Fear News Network bubble he is. This guy thinks that Joe Manchin, yeah, Joe Manchin, who is barely a Democrat, that he should run for the Democratic Party in 2028. The guy who is so in the pocket of big oil that he's practically bathing in it at night. Just disgusting. And Manchin, whose daughter is so in the pocket of big pharma and the medical industry and made a killing, by screwing over average Americans. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway, there you go, guys. So it's a mixed bag here. They're not real happy about some of Trump's policies. Obviously, very clearly do not know enough about his other policies and what all these things mean and how they're going to affect their lives. And honestly, this is on the media. This is on people like me, but more importantly, this is on the media that they're probably tuned into. The CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Fox Newses of the world. Not that I think Fox will ever tell the truth about Trump, but really that's where these people need to hear how these policies are going to affect them. Because remember, and I mentioned this before, in marketing, there's a saying, everyone's favorite radio channel, I think they call it, is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So that's the only thing that people care about. People want to know not what you know about the policy, but how it will affect them and their family in their lives. That's the only thing that's going to matter. So we have to do, and I include myself in this, a good job of explaining it to everyone. So anyway, I will let you know as I hear more from different focus groups. I did hear one last weekend, but it was a group of people who did not vote for Trump. They voted for Biden, and they were all just kind of down. Everybody just kind of feels like, I'm just going to suck it up. I'm just going to put up with it. It's 4 years. I'm just going to white knuckle my way through the next 48 months. Very, very sad. And, the Democrats need to do a better job stepping up, providing leadership, and showing people, we're not going to be yucking it up at a funeral with Trump. We're not going to be sucking up to him and going along with his policies. And we should fight, because right now, the message that the Democratic Party is giving is that this is all normal. This is all okay. It's totally fine. all of these executive orders he signed are perfectly normal and okay. And because if they thought that there was a problem, if we should have, hair on fire moments or that this is a danger, where are they? Why aren't they stepping up and saying something? So, anyway, like I said, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.